session, so please stay with us throughout. Without further ado, I will now pass the time to Dr. John. Over to you, Dr. John.
Okay, thank you, Tammy. Thank you, everyone, for spending your time and your participation in this discussion. Before we continue, a greeting from PSB Academy. And
hi, Dr. John. Can you get your video on? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you again, Tammy. Thank you for your participation and attention in this discussion. Before I continue, greeting from PSB and personally, my regards to you and your family. Please be safe. And let me share with you what we're going to discuss today. It's about leadership. Right, before I share my screen, I just want to give a little bit background about leadership. Some of you might already gone through what I'm going to discuss with you, and you're wondering why am I not achieving the next level, which we will discuss later. Okay, and for now, I just want to continue with the sharing of the slides. Okay, again, good afternoon. So my name is Dr. John Heng. I'm the Assistant Head of School from PSB under the School of Postgraduate Studies. My topic is identifying your leadership style. So what is leadership exactly? Alexandra and I know all of us know through history, through YouTube, through our primary school studies or secondary school studies, Alexander the Great served as a king of Barcelona from 336 to 323 BC. During his time of leadership, he united Greece, re-established the Corinthian League, and conquered the Persian Empire. And what he says is still very, very true up to today. He says this: I'm not afraid of an army of lions led by a sheep. I am afraid of an army of sheep led by a lion. This implies that your organization or anything that has congregation of people, that we always wish we are led by somebody who had this lion heart. Okay. And just to share with you a little bit, leaders are someone who can influence others and who have managerial authorities. And the word is influence. And leadership is just a process of leading a group and influencing the group to achieve its goal. And a lot of us being a senior position in an organization, it could be our supervisor, it could be a manager, it could be an assistant manager. And at times, we look at them and see how they can influence us. And the word influence is a very critical word of a leadership. Okay, and I'm going to expand all these words as we continue this discussion. Let me just talk a little bit about traits theory of leadership. And what does leadership have? First is the drive. Leaders exhibit a high effort level. They have relatively high desire for achievements. They are ambitious. And I love this word called they have lots of energy, passion, and doing what they love to do best. Point number two, desire to lead. Leaders have a strong desire to influence, as what I mentioned earlier, and to lead others, right? Influence means that just a small speech or a short speech allows other individuals under the umbrella to do what they do best. And leaders demonstrate the willingness to take responsibility. Point number three, honesty and integrity. Leaders build trusting relationships with the followers by being truthful, non-deceitful, and showing high consistency between words and deed. And I know all of you can relate this point number three, right? Sometimes bosses, sometimes supervisor, what they say and what they do has a lot of discrepancy in terms of differences. Point number four, self-confidence. Followers look to leaders who don't self-doubt. Leaders therefore need to show self-confidence in order to convince followers of the rightness of their goals and decisions. Point number 5, intelligence. Leaders need to be intelligent enough to gather, synthesize, and interpret large amount of information. And they need to be able to create visions, solve problems, and make correct decisions. As all of us know, garbage in, garbage out. And sometimes managers are overwhelmed with large amount of information of data. That's the reason why, if you look at some senior manager, you only focus on certain good data to make decisions. Well, you know that humans have certain limitation in terms of capacity. Okay. Point number 6, job relevant knowledge. Effective leaders have high degree of knowledge about the company, the industry, and the technical matters. In-depth knowledge allows leader to make well-informed decisions and understand the implications of those decisions. For example, the latest trend, everybody's talking about the supply chain. Just to share with everyone, my forte or specialization is in supply chain. And I know if the vessel that got stuck in the Suez Canal for almost like 2 weeks, I know the negative implication, not only for those who are receiving the containers, but also those that potentially using certain parts of the major suppliers that are going to make the components. Point number 7, extroversion. Leaders are energetic, lively people. They are sociable, assertive, and rarely silent or withdrawn. Proneness to guilt, and I love this. Great proneness is positively related to leadership effectiveness because they produce strong sense of responsibility for others. And never be afraid to admit that you are wrong. But I've seen some senior managers, not in my present jobs, but my previous jobs, where managers have some negative implication, they just refuse to admit, which means to me, they are lying. And how can I trust such a leader who lies? So given today on the modern views of leadership and today's issue, it says here, leading effectively in today's environment involves several important leadership issues such as empowering employees, cross-cultural leadership, and emotional intelligence. Now, let's take a look at employee empowerment. Now, I know, some of the senior managers or supervisors, they just refuse to empower employees. They worry that they make wrong decisions. They worry that this individual who you empower might take over your job. Fear is always the biggest hurdle of how you want to have better leadership. And the point here says managers are increasingly leading by not leading, and that is by empowering the employees. Empowerment means or involves increasing decision discretion of the workers. Now, just be reminded, they can make decisions, but you are still overall responsible for the outcome. You as a senior manager, when you empower, and should the decision is wrong or incorrect, you cannot say, hey, you make the decision, you are responsible for it. No, good leaders will be able to take the overall responsibility. Organizations want to successfully compete in a dynamic global economy. Employees must be able to make decisions and implement changes quickly. Now, have you gone to a shop where you ask something and then the person that's entertaining you say, please hold on, let me check. And I really don't like this word called let me check, because let me check, there is no immediate answer. And sometimes when they let me check, you could be standing there like half an hour. Okay. But if you look at some other retails, the employees can make decisions within certain constraints on certain limitations. And that is what empowerment is all about. And when you realize that that employee can effectively and efficiently make that decision, then you should be able to expand the scope. But you see, our culture is very funny, right? Every time you say, I want to expand your scope, people say, yeah, now I got more works to do. And that is what is happening in some organization, right? We give them more work in the sense of expanding their scope, and they indicate that now I have more work to do. Better shut my mouth next time. And these are the kind of employees that will bring down the organization, which I'm going to emphasize a little bit more later. Another reason is that organization downsizing have left many managers with larger spans of control. So these managers have had to empower their people to cope with the increased work demands. Now, my suggestion is that as a leader, you better don't micromanage. Otherwise, you have such a greater span of control that later it will be beyond your control. And I've seen this before, right? People, everything they want to know, they want to micromanage, okay? And then at the end of the day, he is extremely busy and he can't have the avenue to make strategic decision or have a strategic direction to bring the company forward. So it says here, what are you? What are your leadership style? We have authoritarian, autocratic leadership style. It says here that leaders rarely consult your team members. You tend to tell them what you want, when you want it, and how you want the task to be executed. And the pros is good in a sense. It works in the crisis where the task got to be executed quickly. And the downside is that it might demoralize, demotivate, and aggregate members, may result in higher turnover, likely to also miss out the ideas contributed in these stifling environments. So everything you want to say, everything you want to do, and everything you want somebody else to follow in detail, step by step, 100% of what you want them to do. And this is called indirect autocratic leadership style. Democratic or participative leadership style tend to set the parameters for deliverers and have the final say on the key decisions, and members' active participation are expected of and welcome. And this is what is happening in many organizations. They allow members to participate, to share, and at the end of the day, somebody else will still make the decisions, who will be the leader. The pros is building of trust, and rapport is great between you and your people as you feel valued, engaged all the time. And the cons is that if you're a non-confrontational person in nature, you might struggle to reach an agreement with the team members, which may not be ideal. Next is delegating. Laissez-faire leadership style is free play for all members under you as long as the goals are met. Now, if you look at one of the best examples that I know is Microsoft, right? You look at the members, they feel like coming to work. I'm not suggesting you should implement this. I'm just saying that what I know, okay, of this delegating. They allow employees or members to work as and when, but as long as they produce the results. Again, let me emphasize, I'm not suggesting that you should do this in your organization. The approach is totally ideal if your mates are highly skilled and motivated. And the cons are for members that need more coaching and less trustworthy, the approach may result in bad team and overall performance. Now, before I continue, I just want to talk a little bit more about empowerment. It says that it's a team. Now, a leader has no one to lead. It's just like a casual walk in the park, right? And if you have a lot of members, there's no leader. It's like ants running all over the place, right? And if they feel that most of them go to one direction, everybody will just follow. So what I'm trying to say is that any organization, be it a large organization, MNC, SME, regardless, we need leadership. And we need somebody who is able to bring that organization to the next level. The next point is contemporary issue, the cross-cultural leadership. Right, just going to expand from here. The word cross-cultural leadership. Now, for example, in China now, they are very commonly known as the 996, right? You work 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and you have to work 6 days a week. Now, this is the latest culture. And for an American to go into China, not understanding or not knowing the culture, they might insist that no, everybody must leave at 6. Then there's going to be a lot of disruption, right? How we manage cross-culture, how we manage national culture, they are equally important for leaders. And they also need to understand, okay? I've been working in a Japanese organization for 10 years previously, and then I also worked for almost 10 years in an American environment, our American company MNCs, right? The Japanese also MNCs. I realized that the culture is so much different. Japanese, they like to go out for a drink, to socialize, to get to know each other. American environment, no. Right? Japanese, boss say go, generally most of the employees or both, most of the people will just follow, right? Like go out for a drink or go out for a simple meal. But American environment is no, to each his own, so to speak, right? Japanese culture, boss say yes, nobody say no. American culture, boss say yes, some people will say no. And definitely you have to I know some of you might be going to Thailand to work, you might going back to China to work, you might going back to some other places to find work, or you already been seconded over there. And I encourage you, if you are senior manager there, for the first 1 week, and even before you land over to that destination, please understand culture. And it's very, very important. Point number 3 is emotional intelligence. Now, those are the days are gone where we talk about IQ, right? Intelligence quotient. Now we are more focusing is the emotional intelligence. In order to become a star leader, emotional intelligence is the best predictor of who will emerge as a leader. And the possession of 5 components of emotional intelligence: self-awareness, self-management, and I love the other, number 3 is self-motivation, empathy, to know what the other party is feeling, and social skills. And let me emphasize a little bit of self-motivation. Every night before you sleep, what do you tell yourself about tomorrow? And when you wake up, what do you tell yourself? What you're going to face the whole day? If, for example, the night before you sleep, you say, tomorrow die, you will die. I mean, not physically, I'm just saying, okay? Because remember, environment is not very forgiving. Environment is not all the time conducive. There will be ups and downs, right? And when you face such a situation, what would you do? And I've seen, right, colleagues, again, not my present company, that every morning they will, when I meet them in the lift, I ask you, how are you? You are boring. Very sian, you know, I'm very tired. But you see that when they dismiss from work at 6 p.m., you see how they energetically rush to the MRT or go to some place. But when they come to work, they are like dying. They drag their feet. And such a people, you as a leader, you should know they are not very motivated. And I've seen a lot of this. So most research concludes that EI is an essential element in leadership effectiveness and could be added to the list of traits associated with leadership. And star performers are differentiated from average one by emotional intelligence that enhances the softer result by contributing to the increased morale, motivation, greater cooperation, and lower turnover. And remember, turnover, I just heard somebody say, oh, high turnover is good so that we can get more new people in. That is a very, very, very negative approach, because every time when somebody leaves, it takes at least 6 months to train the person to become 50% effectiveness and efficient, right? Because it takes time to train someone. And because of this, and people leave for a reason, people stay for a reason, and people continue to work for a reason. And you as a leader, you must find a reason for them to want to stay. And similarly, as an employee, we depend on leaders to help us to change our willingness to want to stay as well. Now, I'd just like to share with you this Dr. John C. Maxwell. He's a very fantastic, experienced trainer, and he came up with this, the 5 levels of leadership. And just to look at this, on the vertical axis, it's talk about compliance, degree of influence, going up to the commitments. And he came up with these 5 levels of leadership that every time when I take a look at this, I realize that, hey, it makes a lot of sense, right? For an individual, okay, to be going through these levels of leadership. First is position, where you have the rights. Second level is permission, talks about relationships. Third, production, we talk about results. People, he coined it as reproduction. And personhood or pinnacle, he says, is the respect. Now, just to allow me some of your time to just talk about more details in terms of different levels. Position is the level of rights. People follow you because they have to, right? Because you are there with certain authorities. You have a positional leadership. You are the boss. You are the senior person there. They have no choice. They have to follow you. And whether they want your leadership or not, they really need to follow you. And this is the lowest level of entry, right? They have subordinates, but not team members. They report to you because they have to rely on rules, regulation, policy, and organization chart to control you. And people will follow you within stated boundaries of their authority. And anyone who is appointed to this position is just simply, you get to the place and I just need to follow you. But the good thing is that generally, most of us will start from this position 1, the level of rights. And that's where it will shape you. It will nurture you. It will define you, right? To say, hey, how can I move to the next level? But in this level 1 position, people follow you, right? Because they have to. Company pay them. They will follow you. But unfortunately, that is the least of effort or attention that they're going to provide. Now think about this, your working environments, right? Presently, right? For example, you say that, oh, your company quitting time is at 6 p.m. And you know that level 1 position types of company, you will see the employees at about 5:30 will be going somewhere else, right? They might go to the restroom, they might go to the pantry, they might go to somewhere else, right? And at about 5:45, they will start to clear their desk, okay? And about 5:55, they will change to their high heel shoes, or the men will change to their best purchase shoes, and already, and exactly 6 o'clock, they are like the show called Flash. They disappear. And such a company, we know, is just positional, right? Because the manager has the right, okay? And we encourage that everyone should aspire to go to the next level, which is the level 2. The level 2 is about relationship, right? Point is permission, the level of relationship. People follow you because they want to, they believe in you, they trust you. They actually don't have to, but when they look at you, they just want to follow you. And people do it because of your influence on them, right? Leadership will have influenced people in such a way that their relationship becomes the fundamentals, the influence, and how these leaders can continue to do what they do best. And people or employees or subordinates will want to follow you. And for this level, the 3 things that they do extremely well is, first, they listen well. Now, just bear in mind that some of the ground level workers, they have lots and lots of information because they might be the first line that they interact with the customers. So you should listen, right? Go down to the ground and listen. Second, they will observe consciously what people are, whether people are doing, and constantly observing them, right? Observing them doesn't mean that you're spying on them. Oh, you're not doing your work. No, observing them. And if they are not up to par, you should encourage them, right, to talk to you to find out why. And the third point is that they are learning, and in the process of learning, observing and learning, they have an attitude of servanthood. They want to serve. Now, everyone, serving doesn't mean that they are weak. Don't take servanthood as weakness. They just want to serve and to help each other how we can better the organization. And when people feel like, cared for, included, valued, and trusted, they begin to work together with the leader and each other. And then the team will become very cohesive. Level 3 is called production. Production shows a level of results. People follow you because of what you have done for an organization, the accomplishment, right? And this is where success is sensed by most people. They like you, they like what you're doing, all right? And problems are fixed with very little effort because of the momentum. And production qualify and separate true leaders from people who merely occupy a leadership position, right? And when we engage or when we follow somebody, that somebody will be able to give results and either producing for the organization or adding it to its bottom line. Now, organization need to be profitable to survive unless it's a charitable organization. But charitable organization also need financial means. So we need leaders. And how people will follow them, how effective they are, how productive they are. And that is the level 3, the level of results. And some people never move up from level 2 permission to level 3. Why? Because they can't seem to produce results. And that's the case is usually lack of self-discipline, work ethic, organization, or skill to be productive. And this person is going to stay there for a long, long time. And the next level, I love this, is according to Dr. John C. Maxwell, is people development. And he called this the level of reproduction. People follow because of what you have done for them, what is in for them. And people development is the ability to create a high productivity team, department, organization, right, and reach the upper level of leadership that create the elite organization. Now, good leaders on level 4 invest their time, energy, money, and thinking into growing others as leaders. But certain culture, the level 4 leaders are just disinclined to train other people, to mold other people, or to grow other potential leaders. As I mentioned earlier, sometimes people are just afraid that that person might overtake your position. And that's what's happening in certain culture. But other culture, they take this as a challenge. They will grow you, they will mold you, and if you're better than them, then they are so gratefully would want you to take over this position as the next leader. So this level, the leadership shift their focus from production achievements by others to the development of potential. And given the technology, given the downsizing, good leaders would want to develop others. And one of the quotes says here, they put in only 20% of their focus on personal productivity, while 80% of it on developing and leading others. And that's the reason why up to stage 4, where people development, leaders should start to have certain level of reproduction to mold other potential leaders. And that is what this level 4 is all about. And finally, level 5, they call it personhood or pinnacles. It's the level of respect. People follow you because of who you are and what you represent, your values. This step is reserved for leaders who have spent years growing people and organizations. Just a few make it to this level. And those who do are bigger than life. And it takes a lot of ability to develop this. And then leaders will stand out from others. They will be a cut above others. They seem to bring success with them wherever they go. And leadership at this high level lifts the entire organization and creates an environment that will benefit everyone in it. And level 5 leaders often possess an influence that transcends the organization and the industry that the leader works in. And most leaders will reach the pinnacle or this personhood at the later stage in their careers. Through their experiences, through the different exposure from level 1 to level 4, okay, they will definitely reach there. And with gratitude and humility, they should live up as many leaders as they can, tackle as many great challenges as possible, and extend the influence to make a positive difference beyond their organization and industries. And you know that in Singapore, selfishly, just my personal opinion, right? Our former Prime Minister, Mr. Lee Kuan Yew, okay? He has gone through these 5 different stages, and even at level 5, the pinnacle or the personhood. Now, I'm just saying from my personal opinion. Now, what I have shared, it might relate to you. And some of you might ask, John, I've been doing all what you just described. Why am I not up the level or up the stage? That's a question you have to ask yourself. Because accordingly, if you follow these 5 levels of leadership, somehow in the future, you should be able to move from level 1 to level 2 to level 3 to level 4 and finally to level 5. And I'm not saying that after level 5, that's it, okay? You could be performing other kind of leaderships, right? The choice is yours. Just to recap what I've said, okay, about level 1, position, which gives you the right. Level 2, permission. That's where relationship comes. That's where the influence comes. Production, results. Level 4, people, reproduction. And finally, level 5, personhood or pinnacle. That's where you will gain a lot of respect. And looking at these 5 levels, looking at when I started the work since 1985 up to today, and I've seen how people actually move up very, very fast. And how some people, they just get stuck at the respective level and they never move. And once they have been there for a while, at the end of the day, they'll be very demotivated and they will leave. And as I mentioned earlier, people leave for a reason, people stay for a reason. And what you want to be, what leadership style you want to have, how you want to approach this, nobody else can decide for you except yourself. And before I end this, I just want to emphasize one thing, right? When you are out there, when you are reporting to someone, you as a subordinate, please be very careful of what you say, what you do during off-office hour. Because your boss will observe what you do outside the normal office hour. And I'm speaking from experience. I've seen it. I myself have gone through it, which regrettably, I was out. And then I realized at certain situation, it is better that you do not do and say something that will be negatively impacting on your future level of movements from these 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Now, before I end this, I just want to say, what do leaders look for if somebody who has an MBA? Holistic understanding of the key business concept and the business unit. We allow you to develop ability to think strategically level on behalf of the business. And that's what our MBA program is all about. Another good thing is that you don't have a lot of network with working professionals from different industries and cross-learn from each other from the management perspective. I have one cohort, right? The student helping each other to move from one organization to another organization. Like what I mentioned earlier, people move for a reason, people stay for a reason. And I don't want to discuss that here, but you should understand, right? Why your boss leaves the company, why your subordinate that reports to you leaves the company as well. Okay. How an MBA shapes a leader? Yes, through the self introspection. That means looking at the self. Critical self-reflection helps to understand both your strengths and weaknesses. And remember, we are humans. We will have strength, we will have weaknesses. Even somebody ever argue with me, or not say argue, they negatively say that AI is perfect. No, 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 no. AI cannot be perfect because it is written by humans. Humans not perfect. Machine that we create will never be perfect. Maybe another 50 years or 100 years time, where machine makes another machines, then we might be in a little trouble. But for now, no. Next point is a self-reflection will improve your leadership abilities. And how to do it through teamwork. Leadership is not just one person having all the answers, but enabling all members to find a solution themselves. helping to mold and shape your people, getting the best out of them. And like what I mentioned earlier, if it happens to listen to some negativities coming from people who are just plainly not motivated, what are you going to do with them? And I know that you know what you're going to do with them. Being inclusive to all, that's especially important in Singapore multiracial context. And MBA candidates from different backgrounds are placed and work together. And the comradeship helps individuals to build vital soft skills that invaluable now, ability to communicate better and to work in the teams. And that is what our MBA programs is. And I'm the program director, and I always love to share, to chit-chat with potential students who wants to know more about working environments. I've been working since 1985. Before that, I have to go to US to study because I cannot go to the local U here. For this latest trend that we have good collaborations with our overseas partners, with our partners, and you can have your MBA right here in Singapore while you're working. When I was in US, I have spent almost 50,000 Sing dollar, right? For you, you have this flexibility to do an MBA program in Singapore while you're working. Yes, it's going to be very taxing. Yes, it needs full attention from you. Yes, you need to allocate certain commitments and time. That's the reason why I said earlier, it's always good to have the blessing from your spouse. Whether you got children or not, that is another part of it. But importantly, you must get blessing from your spouse. Okay. Through innovation, 21st century, leaders are expected to know how to manage latest technology and drive. And like what I say, everybody now is talking about Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, right? And the latest trend is IoE, Internet of Everything. Researchers already started to look at this Internet of Everything. Sooner or later, everything will be through the Internet. We also have hands-on practical experiences. MBA is not just about theory learning and comes with heavy focus on practical aspects and giving future leaders the environment, skill set, support, appreciation or intricacy of what is asking others to do. And leaders are shaped in the classroom. And that's the reason why, given this flexibility of you able to do the MBA while you're working, and you can take this classroom environment with certain practical experiences and exposure from different students, you can actually bring it into your business environments. And how are you going to embark on your MBA journey with us at PSB? I'm just going to put this there. In terms of the awarding university, Coventry University, University of Nottingham, University of Newcastle. And there's a QR code you can scan if you just want to learn a little bit more about us. Feel free to scan and then let us know your details, and somebody else will follow through with you. Okay, another 30 seconds. I'm going to move to the next slides. Okay, this will be my last slides for sharing, and I before I answer those questions that there's already put forward to us, I wish you all the best. Our regards to you and your family. Please be safe. And should you not contact us, we are still friends. Please take care and be safe. Thank you. I hand over this time to Tammy. Tammy, thank you.
Dr. John, you have some questions and answers that you may want to go through?
Sure. Should I stop sharing first?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, somebody asking about traits of leadership. The slides, that's number 1 and number 7 means that only extrovert people can be successful leaders. From what I know is that yes, you need to be socializing. Socializing doesn't mean that it is going out to entertain all the time. Socializing means that some of these business talk, you can go and talk to other leaders as well. If you're the introvert type, I don't think you want to be socializing in such environments, because sometimes the environments, there'll be a lot of exchange of information. So looking at number 1 and number 7, yes, you need to be extrovert in the sense to be more successful, right? You look at Jack Ma, you look at some of these leaders, right, presently that we know, they definitely will need to be extrovert. That means they need to be ability to socialize better. I hope I answered that questions. Somebody asked about managers are employees too, right? They can become scapegoats. Good top management are important. Most important, they should be educated too. Yes, definitely agree, right? If you have such an environment that top senior management always trying to get somebody to be the scapegoat, I don't think this is a good environment to work for, right? And I doubt this environment can survive for long, right? Because everybody starts stabbing each other, looking for scapegoats, right? And it's always very easy to blame somebody else. But if you keep on doing this, right, people will know who you are. And yes, I fully agree, top management must also be educated. That's the reason why, according to Dr. John C. Maxwell, he says that in US, a lot of top management are also looking up to him to advise those top management in big organizations, how can they improve their leadership. Okay. Okay, that's a good question. May I know how I can move myself from executive level to managerial level? One thing first is that in order to move, you need to be able to achieve certain outcome that's dictated by the management. And secondly is you need to have knowledge. Selfishly, I would mention that is qualification. For example, you go for an interview, someone with an MBA compared to someone with a bachelor degree, and a bachelor degree has extra 5 years more experiences than you. Who would the management select, right? And they selfishly would select ones with the MBA because it translates to knowledge, right? And second point I would like to encourage you is that just work hard. Don't look at other people who are very, very negative towards work. Negative, I hope you know this formula, right? minus times plus is always equals to minus. Okay? Minus times minus equals to plus. This is actually not correct. And I've seen people who are very positive in terms of working attitude, in terms of work and work outcome, but when they see one or two of the colleagues, they are not so positive, then sooner or later, this individual will become one of them. So don't let negativity pull you down, and it will pull you down. Just work hard. Whether management appreciates, they will appreciate. Work hard. Yes, we will work hard because of the financial implications. Yes, we want to work hard because of the final outcome. But for me, I work hard because I really enjoy what I'm doing. And for that question, for the individual ask that question, you must always enjoy what you're doing. And then every day is a very, very good day. Now, you know that in an organization, just share with you, I hope I still got some time. You know, in an organization, every time when it comes to Monday, everybody says, "Aiya, sian, I got 4 more days to go before weekend comes." When comes Friday, everybody go crazy. Oh, today Friday, oh. But they didn't know that if there's a Friday, there's always a Monday. And when there's a Monday, there must be a Friday. So why don't we enjoy ourselves that Monday will come fast up to Friday. Friday, we enjoy ourselves over the weekend. When comes Monday, positively, you will look forward to the Monday. Don't be like somebody, you know, on the Sunday night where before they sleep, they say, "Yeah, tomorrow Monday is here now." And I know some of you are laughing. Again, I'm not talking about you. I'm just saying, okay? And this is important. It's always yourself. Environment will never change because of you. Your work environment will never change because of what you want it to be. You have to change. And the best way to change is always remember, enjoy your work. Okay, there's another question. Oops. Where did it go to? Sorry. It says here, emerging leaders can find themselves struggling to balance contradictory demands in their environments that are complex and ambiguous, and how emerging leaders can overcome such challenges, such as executive or management or strategy versus operation. Okay. Now, in the first place, leaders should be very clear with what is the demand in the environments. If they are not clear, anyone below them will be equally not clear, and it might be worse. Environment will always be complex. Environment will always be ambiguous. That's why a good leader will be able to understand the complexity and the ambiguity and how to ride over this wave. And it is very, very important for these leaders to be able to understand, right, of this complexity and the ambiguity. And the best way to overcome is looking at others. Now, there is no shame to ask others for help. There is no shame to ask a subordinate, what do they think? Because like what I say, some of them are on the front line. They are better able to understand what is the complexity, right? What is the demand like? Okay, I think due to time, I'm just going to ask or answer the last question. The question is this: As a leader, how can we keep loyal employees motivated if the team has high attrition at some time or new staff are not able to stay on due to the performance or other factors? Yes, that's why a teamwork is important, because if somebody is not working equally much, it will impact negatively on the other members. And for that team, the leader should know, right, how capable an employee is and how to motivate. Besides the financial means, is you yourself must show good example. As a leader, remember, employees look towards you. If you don't walk the talk and talk the talk, people don't care, right? For example, in terms of teaching, right, or in terms of these private education environments, okay, we tell students that, don't come and see me, please see my subordinate, right? And your subordinate realize, or the downline realize that this is what you're doing. Everything, or John don't want the answer, they push to me, right? Sooner or later, they'll be very demotivated, and they will impact on the performance as a whole of the department, or as that for the department or for the organization. Okay, unfortunately, the time is running out, and I will stop sharing and for the Q&A. Thank you so much for all the questions, and I hope that I've answered satisfactorily in what you want to hear. Okay, and thank you so much. Now I give the floor back to Tammy. Tammy, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. John, for your time and for your valuable sharing today. We hope you've enjoyed today's session, and we'll now invite you to participate in our feedback poll. Please give us your honest feedback so that we can improve on our brown bag series. The feedback poll should be popping up on your screen, so please take a few moments to share with us your observation. Thank you very much for your feedback and for joining us today. This Brown Bag series is proudly brought to you by HeadHunt in partnership with PSB Academy. This marks the end of our Brown Bag Work Hack series for this series, so please stay tuned on our website masterclass.sg for the next series that's coming to you at the end of November. Do sign up early. With that, we'll end today's session. Thank you very much and see you soon. Bye.